I am Gavin Harper. I am 37 years old, and I am a senior system analyst.
My name is Babatunji Ifarinu. I am 48 years old, and I am an assistant principal at an elementary school.
My name is Sir Calloway. I am in my mid to late 30s. I'm an artist, actor, writer, poet, Dirty South native. I am all things creative.
My name is Alton Walker. I'm 35, I'm a professional comedian.
And my name is Brian Thomas. I'm the CEO of EGB Entertainment, entrepreneur, 1/4 of the Show podcast. I'm 38 years old.
My name is Vincent Edward Thomas. I'm a professor of dance at Towson University, and I'm also the founder and artistic director of VT Dance.
I'm Will Hop. I am 42 years old, and I am the owner of Alpha Boot Camp, which is located in Durham, North Carolina.
Jay Smith. I'm 40 years old. I'm the founder of Spark Initiative, Inc.
I am a community activist, and I live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Dazon, I'm 19 from Augusta, Georgia.
Six to 7 years of my life, the true foundation that I needed as far as manners and respect and all that stuff were pretty good. You know, my pop instilled that because he was with us. He wasn't traveling at the time, again, with the military, so we were together. So very structured. We're in the bed at 9 o'clock, had to get up at 9 o'clock, regardless. If we woke up at 6, we couldn't get out of bed until 9 o'clock. So that was always set. We ate dinner together. Me, my mom, and my sister, we would always eat dinner together at the table. That was every night. And typically every Friday night, we would eat out, which is the only night that we would ever eat out. And at that time, you know, it was Captain D's, but that was the first few years of my life. And then once my pop went overseas, the structure changed a little bit because we moved from Kentucky to Wilson, North Carolina. And so there, the structure was a little bit different. Still structured, but different.
I have 3 siblings, an older brother, an older sister, and a younger sister. And my mom, my late mother, she died a year ago, was a beautician. And my father worked at a textile company in Graniteville.
Household, 2 parents, both in the military, so we always traveled. With that, I never really had too many friends, or if I did, I had an extreme collection of friends from various backgrounds.
Mother and father initially were both in the household. I love both my parents. They both loved me. My parents eventually, my biological parents eventually got divorced, and so the household was eventually split.
A real mother and father family type of oriented type of home. You know, I was raised by a strong Black man who worked and took care of us, and a strong Black woman who took care of us too, inside the house and outside the house. You know? So my household was really like the idea household that you would want a mother and father present.
I came from a 2-parent house, and I grew up in South Florida. We grew up in some projects for the first about 13 or 14 years of my life. And then we moved into a house that's down the street from the projects. Got a sister. However, my parents always adopted somebody else. So we've always had an extra child in our house. They always took it upon themselves to try to take care of other people's children.
I live with my mom. I always have. I do know my dad, but I don't see him as much as, I don't see him as like him, but I talk to him on like the weekends and stuff like that. He checked in on me every once in a while. Yeah, it's basically just me and my mom in my house, and her boyfriend and his kid.
Grew up with a father, mother, 2 sisters, brother. It was 6 of us. Very religious household, so we went to church all the time. You know, which was cool. Didn't have a lot of money. I thought we was rich until we got kicked out one time. We used to move every year. We were one of them families that moved every year. I used to tell my friends, you know, hey man, I'm moving next year, man. You better be my friend. I didn't know we was moving because we was getting evicted. But my mom and dad, they really, really worked hard. It was just that, you know, they lived check to check. I remember one time it was probably 16 of us in a 3-bedroom apartment. There's like 3 families. And because my mom and dad, even though we didn't have much to give, they always were giving, you know, especially my mom. She was a very, very strong giver. So, I mean, I guess that's where I get my giving from my parents. Because even though we didn't have much to give, they did.
I grew up with my mom as an only child. And this was in Miami, Florida. And whenever things were a little rough for her, she would send me to my aunts and cousins in northern Florida. So I grew up around a lot of women. My cousins and aunts pretty much did a very big part of raising me. This was before my teenage years. Grew up around a lot of women, raised by mostly women. And as I became a teenager, you know, we moved up here to Atlanta, and she got married, and then that's when I finally had a father structure in my life. And again, I was an only child for a while until they had a child of their own, which is my younger sister. Overall, I would say my upbringing was great. I wasn't mistreated in any way, whether it be through family or, you know, anyone else for that.
You know, I've always had my dad around to help provide for us, to teach me just various things in general, as far as like my dad owned his own construction company since a year before I was born. So learning how to build things, fix things.
Being a black man in America is hard. I can't really sugarcoat it and make it any different way. I look at it like it's like going into the world and with a blindfold on, you know, because you really have, I mean, your fathers and your uncles and your cousins and everybody can tell you what not to do. Like, my father used to tell me how to prepare for if the police pull you over, like type of stuff. That's something that you probably shouldn't have. I mean, you should know, just get your ID out, your registration, all that, but it's like an attitude that you have to have. So it's kind of like you always got like a burden on your back. And it's like, you know, we as men, we sit and we think like, okay, well, all we want to do is provide, and you know, at times we get mad with the women because we just want them to understand, man, when we walk out that house, I mean, you already know you got to do what you got to do for your family. That's without a doubt. But then you got the other side of the world that's already against you too. So it's kind of like you have to fight. It's hard. That's why I say it's just hard. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to teach a boy to be a man. It's only so much you can tell them. They're going to have to learn on their own. And that's basically like, that's why I say it's hard, because it's like you going out there, you really don't know what you about to head into when you become a man. Every day, and it never stops. You could be 68, 70 years old and you still got to watch your back as a man.
It's a lot of pressure. One, it's a lot of pressure just being a man, period, because we were raised to protect and provide. That's what men are. That's what we are taught to do. I mean, you got to provide. You gotta make money. You provide for your family and protect. You know, you just hear that all the time, and that's a lot of pressure. You know, women be wondering why men be taking so long to commit. It's because the pressure of being responsible for a whole family, like, that falls on us. If anything happened to a family, it falls on that man. So, and that idea of being a man is just scary. It's very scary, because what if we can't? You know, what if I can't provide? What if something happens where I don't have the finance to provide? Yeah, I got money now, but what if something happens tomorrow and I'm not able to provide for a family or for a woman? So the pressure of just knowing that we got to protect and provide is extremely scary. And the fact that, like, man, we always in this place of impressing. You know, that's pressure alone. Like, we always feel like we have to impress. And being a black man, you know, when you get into the work field, you really feel like you have to go the extra mile to impress your workers or your boss. You know, so with protecting, providing, and always being in that place of impressing someone, it's a lot of pressure.
It's kind of hard to explain because at the same time, I only know what I've seen, and I haven't experienced like a crazy amount of racism in my life, but I definitely have experienced it, and it's kind of like you just being you, and people are creative. So it's always, oh, he's just a black boy. Basically, that's all it's been my whole life. He's just a black boy. Instead of, oh, he's Dazon, does this. He's the black kid on, when I played sports, he was the black kid on that team. Good black kid on that team. Instead of just being, oh, he's number 12, the good kid from that team, or the good kid from that team. So, and as a black man, you kind of look down upon by everybody. Not necessarily even everybody. It's just one group of black men they assume is all the black men in the world, and that goes for white people, black people, Hispanics. Everybody just assumes, oh, he's a black man, he's scary. Instead of being, oh, he's a black man, but maybe he isn't what I assume.
I call it, in my head, I would call it the beautiful struggle. I love nothing more than being black. I love nothing more than black women, black children, black things. But of course, in the country that we live in as America, it doesn't seem to value blackness as we do. So it makes it near and dear to me to not be ashamed of my blackness, because I don't think it's anything to be ashamed of. And I think in this country, from very early ages, we learn to tone down our blackness or to make it smaller when that shouldn't be the case. So it seems like the experience of the black man is the experience to own your blackness, not be ashamed of it, and to wear it as a badge of pride, no matter what, or no matter the climate, no matter the place, to just be, as I said, 24/7 black unapologetically.
It's been trying at times. It's a unique experience, that's for sure, that unless you are a black male, you really won't know what it's like. And it's so I'm always on the fence about this, when I talk about it, because again, and that's a very good question, because we all experience different events in our life that ultimately shapes who we are. And I've had the opportunity to be around so many different types of people. And so I've heard and seen positively and negatively the effects of another race's actions and words. For instance, I remember, again, being in Kentucky as a kid, it was white people, Asians, black people all on base. And I specifically remember this one moment where I used to play with this white girl named Melissa. And all of a sudden she came out one day and said, "My mom won't let me play with niggers."
While it is challenging and exhausting at times, it's also an honorable and exciting existence. I don't want to just sleep on the fact that it's dope to be black. You see what I'm saying? I don't, oh, woe is me, I'm black and they treat us wrong. We know these things, but if you really look at how dope we are, and and as a black man, things that I'm capable of that, some of my white friends just can't do. I mean, you either born with it or you ain't, you know what I'm saying? Some of the sauce we got, I love it. I wouldn't change it for the world, but at times, yes, it's very frightening. It's very frightening. Police pull up behind you and you're scared for your life. Even if you ain't doing nothing wrong, when they pull up alongside of you, you afraid to enjoy your music. Before they pulled up alongside you with that red light, you feeling it, right? When they pull up alongside you, it's both hands on the wheel, turn the music down a little bit. It's okay, it's jamming just a little bit. I ain't gonna enjoy it too much. Because if I look like I'm enjoying it, I look like I'm thugging. It's the little things like that because I'm black. My hair, will I be looked at as a dope boy? Would I be, I used to have locks. Locks was automatically associated with, oh, he got some weed in the car. Those are the things that I've had to look at. And, I've been in rooms where I was the only black guy, in places where I was the only black guy, and it felt uncomfortable. So that's one side of the experience that, I don't too much care for.
There's two phases of it, being a black man, in my opinion. And so you got what's in your face, which is what I respect a little bit more. Those guys in your face telling you you're not going to amount to anything. that you're inferior to them, no matter how hard you bust your butt to get to what they're doing. And then you got the behind the scenes challenges where you apply for a role, you know you're great for a role, you apply for that scholarship, you apply to make that spot on the team, and because somebody don't like you, you don't get that opportunity. And then that one opportunity in that person's mind, and for myself, might have been that deal breaker. So I had to recreate myself in my way of thinking that, look, I can't allow for those challenges to overcome me. I got to do better. So every no that I get, that's just gonna push me harder to get a yes.
It's low self-esteem, because when I grew up in the 80s. And when I grew up, light skin was in style. And curly hair was in style. Christopher Williams, Al B. Sure, those dudes was in style. So I knew I didn't look like that. So I had issues with the way I looked. And so I learned early on to have low self-esteem and not to like myself. However,
my experiences as a Black man in the professional world has been very challenging. I'm not gonna say that mine haven't been any different from anyone else, but they've been challenging from the fact of, you know, I may be the only person that looked like me in the rooms that I sit in. So that definitely is, it's not new to me, but it has gotten tougher and tougher over the last couple of years, definitely over the last couple of weeks with everything that's going on in the world right now.
And sense and experience fear, love, ridicule, dependence, absence, fear, distinguish, diminished, elevated. Like, I feel so many things as a Black male.
First of all, my dad, I didn't realize how important he was in my life until I got older. And I started remembering like everything I was doing, I remember seeing him doing. Because my dad wasn't the type to, you know, to sit down and educate you and make you read and all that, but he just did things by example. When it came to working or being a hard worker, my dad was an entrepreneur. He had a concrete business. So he made us work. You know, we was during the summertime, we was pouring concrete. And I remember it'd be nights that, you know, summertime, you want to stay up, play video games all day. Man, we'll stay up 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning playing video games. You had to wake up 6 o'clock in the morning to go pour some concrete. But the good thing about it, he did pay us for what we was worth. So if you was a finisher, you got paid finishing like a finisher. He didn't like not pay us. He paid us. He didn't cheat us out our money because we lived with him, you know. So that was dope. And plus I grew up in the church. So we had the deacons and the elders, and, you know, so they would do Men's Day, and we'll have our, you know, friends. They did a lot of stuff for us, you know. So men were very important in my life when I look back at it. You just don't realize how important they are until you get older. So I thank all the men that were in my life, because if it wasn't for you guys, I probably wouldn't be the man I am today.
You know, I learned so much. I mean, this is hindsight for me thinking now, but I've learned so much from my father. He's the silent type. He's got this silent strength that speaks volumes without a lot of words.
But I guess the strongest male figure in my life was my father. You know, like I said, I've always seen him working. He's had the same job since I was in nursery school. He's always been consistent. He's always been there. And so, like, to this very day, you know, I still go to him and ask him for advice on certain things.
If it wasn't for, like, especially like my father, me being the only boy in my family, in his words, I would have been a punk. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of like made me understand what it takes to be a man by watching him take care of the house and being able to do almost everything. Like, I looked at him like he's Superman, you know what I'm saying? So that influence was more like, you know, I used to be scared of him. It was like a good scare because it's like, that's what a man supposed to be tough, you know? And so his influence made me understand how I need to be as a father and understand what to look for in the streets. And he knew both sides. He knew the corporate world, like understanding because he always worked. But he also knew the streets and what to look for at, you know what I'm saying, and know what not to do and all those type of things like that, you know. So
as a kid, you know, I didn't really. I would say not so much. It's important to me now because I'm grown. But as a kid, again, you know, my pop was there in the early going, and he was the only one I saw. So, you know, it was just always my pop. But I didn't necessarily say it was important. But growing, I realize the importance now, being a grown man. However, it was primarily females. Because, again, once we moved, I was around and raised pretty much by females.
For me personally, I grew up around women for the most part. So it was mostly, since I lived with my mom, I only knew things that my mom did or things that my aunties, my grandmas, and all of them did. So seeing somebody do other stuff outside of, you know, what my mom did and all the women in my life did, it was important because I didn't know how things do, or I needed somebody to give me an idea of what a man should do or what a man shouldn't be doing, as like an example for how I guide myself across life. I needed somebody to either show me the good or it's either somebody to show me the bad so I can stay away from the bad.